Hi, we're ready to take our drawing to our next level. So we started with our squares and we turned those into blocks. Our next step was to add our second block and to add our columns going to the vanishing point. So we have all four columns. Our next step was to add our inside blocks. So we have the 4 blocks on the inside that are smaller, and our wide columns at the outside, 2 going towards vertically at the edges of the paper and 2 going horizontally towards the edges of the paper. But now we're going to think about the inside. What are we going to do with the inside shape? So let's take a look at a couple of options. And I'm going to show you some options that other students have done. And what I want you to look at is the shape in the center right now. This student chose a circle in the center. This student chose a rectangle or a square in the center. And you'll notice they also made use of the vanishing point to make a pattern as if there was a back wall at the middle of their drawing. This student chose a little bit different approach. They chose a more imaginative approach, so it's reminiscent of a keyhole shape. Okay, so what we're going to do is think about what kind of shape can we do. So if I am choosing a circle like we have done before, the best way to do it is to find an object. This is a little bit bigger around on the bottom than a quarter, so I'm going to center that over my vanishing point. It doesn't have to exactly be in the center, but I want to have it in the middle of my drawing, and I'm going to trace around the shape. And since if I was drawing on paper, I would be using a pencil. Then if I draw through my columns, I can come back and erase it. I'm using a transparency marker. And so let's take a look at the angle's a little bit awkward. So now I have a nice circle, and that would be at the end of my drawing. So if I'm using a circle shape, it might seem a little bit like we're going through a tunnel. The viewer is going through a tunnel on that back shape. Okay, let's try a different shape. If I am choosing to do a rectangle or a square, I would want to use my ruler and keep in mind the things that we've talked about with perspective, and that is that all of our lines are parallel to the edge of our paper, so that is they're horizontal or vertical. So I might decide to line up my corner with a line, but rather than just start with a line, let's think about a square. How many corners does a square or a rectangle have? It has 4. So rather than just planning or drawing, it will help me to kind of visually put dots where I want my corners to be, and that helps me plan the size, and it's pretty easy to visually line those up. And it's not a lot of erasing. If I see I need to make a dot a little lower, I can do that. And then I have a target, so it's a little bit more clear about where I want the shape to be. And I can draw my line. And it will work best if I draw my lines that are parallel first. So you'll notice I did a top and a bottom, and then I will do the other sides the same, connecting, and I'm careful to keep my ruler going the same direction. So when I was looking at your drawing, some people had a hard time and their rulers were sort of different angles. So we want to be sure that those are correct and straight. And so now this happens to be more of a rectangle. The student example I showed you was more of a square. So if I want more of a square, then I would make the dots closer together this way and not so far apart. Okay, so now let's try a triangle, and let's think about a triangle shape. How many corners does a triangle have? A triangle has 3 shapes, so that means, or 3 corners, sorry, a triangle has 3 corners, so I would need 3 dots instead of 4. So I want maybe more of an unusual shape, an unusual triangle. It doesn't have to be a triangle with 4 or 3 equal sides. And if I like where my dots are, then I can go ahead and I'm going to go skip over my column, and I'm going to change this dot because I want a more unusually shaped triangle, so I'm going to bump that out a little bit. And when I connect my dots, I'm going to line up my dots just as if I was lining up something with a vanishing point. And again, I'm going to skip over my columns. And so when I'm done, now this triangle is kind of straight at the bottom. It would not have to be straight. It could be tipped at an angle. Okay, so whether we're drawing a triangle, a square, or a rectangle, start your back wall or your back shape by marking the dots first and connecting the lines, and then you'll have a nice shape. If you're using a circle, you want to find an object to trace. So that shows you what we're going to do for next time. The second thing we're going to do next time is we need to brainstorm. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. Let's say I want to do a sport theme for my drawing. Okay, and let's say I want the sport theme to be soccer. Now, we have done brainstorming before. So on a piece of scratch paper, I want you to make a list of your theme. So if my theme is going to be soccer, I want to think about what kinds of things go with soccer. So I might have special shoes, not just like street shoes. I have special shoes. I might have a jersey, because a jersey or a jersey number, different players have different numbers. I might have the ball. I might have the net. I might have to mark the edge of the playing field. There are flags at the corners of the to mark the out of bounds. I have the net is also called a goal. So I might have a scoreboard. So when I look at this student's drawing, I can see that all of the things that are in this drawing, all of the objects, all of the shapes are connected to the idea of soccer. So for next time, I want you to choose a theme for your drawing, and I want you to brainstorm at least 5 different things that go with that theme. So, for example, in the drawing we just looked at, soccer, we had shoes, jersey, ball, net, flag, and a scoreboard. Okay, now you might be able to get more things than that, but at least 5 things for whatever you decide your theme is going to be. Okay, so just to review, for our next class period, you're going to have your brainstorming list, and you're also going to have decided what shape is going to be the back of your drawing. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you do your brainstorming first or your back wall sketch, but those 2 things you need to have done for next time. Happy drawing!